What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 12th. I don't even know if my hands are in frame, but 5, 5, and 2. Welcome to the 12th episode of BoxInOne Podcast, where we talk hoops creatively. Catch us on YouTube and Spotify. Like, comment, share, and subscribe always for more episodes. I'm here with Daniel Robles and Royce Chand. I said we would have all 5 next week, but I said emphasis on the maybe, so you can't really put that on me, but we will have all 5 next week. And then for the playoffs, you will definitely have Samaje Henry and Marcus Aguilar with us. Excited to do that journey with you all. Before we get into the basketball, though, we do got to talk about this Final Four for the women's NCAA National Basketball Tournament. UConn gave UCLA crazy belt, winning. Let me check the score real quick before I misspeak. 85 to 51.
It was like 85 to 51, yeah.
85 to 51, despite Lauren Betts putting up 26 and 5. I mean, you had Sarah Strong 22 and 8. Paige Becker 16 and 5, Azzy Fudd 19, and then also South Carolina gave Texas belt, winning 74 to 57. Texas was one of the teams in this women's NCAA tournament with one of the best defenses in the country. Well, they got shut down. Highest scoring quarter they had was 19. Third quarter they only had 9 points. That was the defining moment. Nobody got over 15 on their team, if I'm reading that correctly. Actually, no, Jordan Lee did go for 16. South Carolina with a very balanced attack. Almost everybody who played got buckets up except Maddie McDaniel. She only played 1 minute in garbage time. UConn, South Carolina, it's like, what did Thanos say? This is inevitable. I am inevitable. This UConn versus South Carolina, Dawn Staley versus Gino is always happening in women's college basketball. So for this dance, again, who do y'all see winning?
I still have UConn winning. It's going to be probably a close game. Because if you give 2 great teams belt, and then those 2 teams that gave them belt are going to the championship game, I think it's just going to be a close game. Mm-hmm. I have UConn winning because their rotation has been very incredible. Kind of like against UCLA, defensively, they're just all over them. Offensively, they countered very well. They went on consistent runs. So I can kind of see them doing the same with South Carolina. I think it's going to be South Carolina's going to go. They're going to go back and forth, I feel like. But I have UConn winning it by like 4. Final score I want to be like 82 to like 78.
Okay.
It's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I agree with Daniel. That's all I'm going to say. Paige Becker, that's all I'm going to say. I need the send off going to the league. I need that chip. I think majority of the world wants to see UConn win. We've seen South Carolina do it. We need UConn to be on top of the map again, especially for women's basketball.
Brought to South Carolina too. South Carolina, they're a good program, especially with
they've never fallen off. They're a 1 seed again. Wait, are they a 1 or a 2 seed? They're a 1 seed again.
1 seed, yeah.
And I think when
UConn's a number 2 seed.
Yeah, it's like it's like the Celtics and Lakers of college basketball. That's how I view South Carolina and UConn. Like at the end of the day, everybody else can do great things. Iowa can go on their run. LSU can get their run. LSU also just got Flajay Johnson back, depending on whether or not she enters the transfer portal. But when you look at the dominance of UConn and the dominance of South Carolina, it's like this is the standard of winning in a basketball franchise. I mean, UConn's winning streak in the past decade was 111 games.
That was snapped by South Carolina.
No, that was snapped by Ole Miss, actually. Mississippi State. Because I remember that game. That was 8 years ago. That was
a buzzer beater.
Yeah, 8 years ago, a couple days ago, which is crazy because I actually remember watching that whole game live. 111 wins. That is a bad NBA season and a half. And if we include the finals, that's going 82-0, then going 98-0, and then winning the first 13 of the next season. Just to put that in perspective. That is insane.
That's crazy.
South Carolina, I mean, they've put out so many great draft picks. Ajay Wilson, Camila Cardozo. I mean, it's so much talent on both ends. I do think UConn is way too stacked. I think Azzy Fudd, I think Sarah Strong, I think Paige Beckers, either one of them can be the one whenever is needed. I think Paige Beckers can take over this game whenever it's needed. And I think she's going to take it over. I'm going to make a prediction. I think she's going to go for 36, 27 in the second half. I think it's going to be a close game in the first half, maybe like 40 to 34 South Carolina going into the half. And then Paige is just going to ask her, so she's going to look in the mirror and say, how bad do I want it? I want it really bad. Again from downtown. I already hear the call. 36. I'm gonna say UConn gonna win by 11. I'm gonna say 90-79. I think they're gonna pull away. I think Paige is gonna hit timely shots. I think Sarah Strong gonna give them some good offensive production as well. And then again, you double on Paige, you still got Ozzie Fudd right there too. 90-79 UConn. South Carolina winning it. I wouldn't be mad at either program as a fan of the game.
Yeah,
I would like to see Paige get that final run, everything she's been through, Achilles tear, all that stuff. Lost to Iowa last year as well, where that team had Nika Mule. It's time. It's time, and it would be a great way to end her collegiate career.
I think the thing is, too, I said this last episode as well, but I think the idea of women's basketball rising as a whole, and women's basketball being more anticipated than the men's national championship and men's Final Four altogether, is such a great thing for them. I was actually talking to my boss about this yesterday, how, fundamentally, I also said this last week, fundamentally, if you want to watch basketball based on just fundamentals, women's basketball is the best thing. In fact, even as whether you're you can learn from both ways. You can kind of be women's basketball, their fundamentals are incredible. You can learn from that. If you're a young player who wants to play basketball, maybe have a future potential, in the league or whichever NBA or WNBA, it shows. And I think women's basketball shows that the most.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question for y'all, actually, before we get into these NBA talks. Just staying on college a little bit. I believe you sent this, Daniel, in the chat. Hypothetically, if Cooper Flag wins the NCAA tournament, you got Cooper Flag, you got Melo, you got Anthony Davis. Between those three, if Cooper Flag does get this national championship, can you call this the best one-and-done freshman season all time?
No. Here's why. I think Anthony Davis is still going to be. It doesn't matter. I still think he's the best one-and-done player of all time, strictly because of how many blocks he had in a season. That man had more blocks than programs, top 10 programs in the country. And Cooper Flag, I haven't seen him do that. Don't get me wrong. Statistically, Cooper Flag is up there with Carmelo Anthony, up there with Anthony Davis. But I think it's. What AD did in his 1 year in Kentucky is incredible. It was to the point where Joakim yourself, you thought he did 2 years. Those are the type of stats you can build in 2 seasons, but he built it in 1 season. And guess what? Did you say that, or you
I said that? Not to cut you off real quick. I just realized he averaged 4.7 blocks a game.
Yeah, he did. He averaged almost 5 blocks a game.
It's not even the points, because he only averaged 14.2 and 10.4 rebounds. But 4.7 blocks a game with 1.4 steals is disgusting. Anyways, continue.
Yes, defensively he was a monster. And just adding out, he was a defensive monster. And I think also as well, it makes it a one and done. Also, although he was out of college by then, he played on the Olympic team, the 2012 Olympic team, before he even started an NBA game. And he played okay, he played solid for his first Olympics, and he won gold. Which 19-year-old can tell you, hey, I had the best collegiate season ever, and I played Olympics, all in the span, and then I went to the NBA, all of a span in 1 year. No one can say that but him. So that's my argument with that.
If Wemby went to college and got American citizenship,
no. I think his route was perfect. His route was perfect, though. I think his route was perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, before we go to Royce, I think what Cooper's doing is great. I think the level of the players he's getting compared to, my only gripe is I think it's a little too early, because people are like, oh, prime Kawhi Leonard. I'm like, hey, we gotta see him defensively against some of these guys in the NBA, against some of these guards, against some of these forwards. I think the floor is Brandon Ingram with a huge defensive upside. I will put it like that. His floor is Brandon Ingram with a huge defensive upside.
What do you think his ceiling is?
They were saying Tatum. Tatum's the ceiling.
I was gonna say Tatum, Banchero if he bulked up, but I don't think he's as athletic as Banchero, so I would say Tatum's the ceiling. And that's not a shot.
That's a nice.
It's a nice because it's kind of like these guys like Brandon Miller, Banchero, kind of like this 6'9" to 6'11" hybrid forward guard type player ever since KD came out of Texas. it's really like a lineage, like KD, PG. You had Tatum. You got I already said Paul George. You got Ingram. You got Banchero. You got a lot of these guys who fit into that little niche where it's like, okay, you can be like the Cam Thomas of Brandon Ingram's, or you can be the Michael Jordan of Paul George's. It's like, and then Kawhi is also in that conversation as well, just because of his handle as a 6'7" guy. Even though he's a shooting forward, still his ability to handle the ball is insane, even at his size. Even despite the injuries, it's kind of funny watching highlights of him this year. It's like he lost some of his athleticism, but that almost made his offensive game better because now he's just going to play at his pace and everything is so much more crisp. I know we talk about SGA in that conversation, but in terms of just handles and economizing motion, I think Kawhi is still in that conversation. Clippers a Western Conference Finals team, but we not there yet. Royce, did you have anything you wanted to add to the one and done conversation?
Nah, I was saying if you want to talk prospects, to say he's one of the best prospects ever, I would say so. Because watching that man play, or he's a kid pretty much, but he plays like a grown man. Like he's NBA ready. Yeah. He can do pretty much everything on both ends. He's good with the basketball. He's like 6'8", 6'7".
Yeah, 6'9".
Like we were saying, he's fit in that mold where very few NBA players can do it. But yeah, I wouldn't put him over Melo because what Melo did to that Syracuse program was insane. Like, people don't realize how insane that was. This was a Syracuse program that was like in the mud. They weren't doing much. They've never won before. And then all of a sudden you get one of the top prospects. A lot of people thought that he was going to pull out, that he was going to like take back his commitment to the hometown Syracuse. And then he takes them not only to the tournament, he takes them all the way with a team that only had one other NBA player on there. So it's like what Melo did. And if you look at the Duke team is way more stacked. Like if you take Cooper Flag out of that team, it's still a tournament team. If you take Melo away from that team, they're winning like 2 games. If you take AD off that team, they're winning like 5 games.
But I think that's also a great point because AD and Cooper are already at established programs. Obviously, AD did a lot of the establishing with his run, but Kentucky's already a household name. Duke is already a household name. I mean, I think if you ask most people, like, in general, what teams you know for college basketball, first, like, 2-3 teams, they're going to be Duke and Kentucky, and then probably one of the LA teams. Syracuse, like you said, was really, like, bottom of the mud. This was, like, I had a muted motorcycle just drove by. It happens in Burbank. As I was saying, though, Syracuse was like an in-the-mud type of program, and Melo literally did what Bron did in like 2007 and took those guys to the finals with Mo Williams and Delonte West and Anderson Varejao. We not used to that. We not used to that in Ilgakis. So I think it's between Melo and AD still. I think maybe if Zion won it, that's like the only thing I could maybe put on that level because of collegiate Zion, how great he was before the New Orleans food, before the other things in his personal life, before the
courtside people,
before the individuals courtside we won't name, before all of that, Zion coming out of college like, oh, Braun. But yeah, I think it's between Melo and AD, and that's not a diss to Flag. I mean, Flag is still, I think, comfortably comfortably 3 or 4. And Kareem wasn't one and done, but obviously, like, that's still probably the best collegiate player of all time.
Yeah. He was so good they had to ban dunking.
Yeah.
You can't do that no more.
Yeah.
But one last thing I want to say, while we still got Melo on the topic, Hall of Famer, Carmelo Anthony, finally.
Love to see it. Melo and Dwight, finally.
Yeah, because Dwight was in the Magic Hall of Fame, and I got so excited. I was like, "Oh, he's in the real Hall of Fame," and they snubbed him off the 75 too. So it's good to finally see him get the Hall of Fame nod. It
is kind of like not funny, but I guess kind of funny. He said he wanted Kareem. I forgot the other one. It could have been forgot the other center, but he said he wanted Kareem, another center, and Shaq to walk him out. And I saw Shaq. I said, "How do I tell you this?"
Are y'all excited for Superman, bro? I'm excited for Superman. That's the summer, bro. Did y'all see the preview, bro?
Like,
goated,
it
dude.
looks good. It looks
really good.
I don't care about it.
What?
It looks good. I don't care about it. It's how people feel about Jalen Green right now. It looks good. I don't care. We've seen this before.
Jalen Green trick y'all, man. 2 months every year. 2 months every year he does this.
He tricks y'all from February to April. He tricks y'all. Matter of fact, I was going to talk about the Warriors first. But we can talk about the Rockets right now and then go back to the Warriors. My question for y'all, is Houston going to be a problem? They're 8-2 in their last 10. They was just on a 12-game winning streak. I named the duo something. I'm not going to repeat the title of the duo that I named, Sengun and Jalen Green. Y'all can read it in the script, though. We're just going to call it...
Do you want me to say it? I'll say it.
Green and Sengun. Green and Sengun. Nah, chill. We're not trying to mess with the brand dealers. We're not trying to mess with the brand dealerships. Did I say brand dealerships? We're not trying to mess with the sponsorships. They just beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Amen Thompson did a great job on guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He went 12 of 22 from the field. My question is, in this Western Conference, we saw the Rockets do this last year. Y'all remember Rockets making a push from 13th to 10. Oh my goodness. They're on a 10-game winning streak. Jalen Green averaging 28 on 45 and 41% from 3. 28, 8, and 8. Sengun hooping too. Oh my gosh. They about to play the Warriors. Taylor Easton talking about, we'll see you soon, strength and numbers. Oh, yeah. Got belt from a Warriors team that couldn't even beat the Kings in a play-in, bro. Now y'all the 2 seed. Same roster. Ime locked in. He not snow bunny hopping no more. They cooking. Same thing in April, bro, because remember, they was just on a 6-game winning streak not too long ago. Losing streak, not too long ago. Same thing in April. I'm going to get my opinion first. When I look at a team like OKC, when I look at a team like LA, when I look at a team like Golden State, when I look at a team like Denver, I don't see them winning over the course of 7. I don't see the Rockets. Y'all relying on Jalen Green. He ain't passed my hate test yet. I'm like Shaq. The reason I don't like Jalen Green is pretty simple. It's because he's inconsistent in the moments you need him to be consistent. When you really
What's a good example of it?
Last year, they was on a 10-game winning streak and they got belt from Golden State. It's a perfect example. This team does this every February to April, and they're a regular season team. They are the new Atlanta Hawks. Sengun is great. He's going to get his buckets. I understand the baby Jokic comparisons. If they play Jokic is going to average 36, 12, and 12 in that series. Dillon Brooks, good perimeter defender. He was doing that weird defense on Braun, but I haven't really seen Dillon Brooks bring anything to a team in the playoffs where it's like, oh, they would have lost this if they didn't have Dillon Brooks. The Wolves should have beat Memphis in that 2021 year. It was just 2022 playoffs. It was the collective CTE from the coaching staff of the Timberwolves and Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards shooting teams back into the game with all of these misses. It was the Timberwolves should have been up 3-1 in that series going back to game 5. They should have. They were up 10 when it was 2-2, and then they blew the lead, and then they blew the lead in game 6. That wasn't because of Dillon Brooks. That was because of John Morant playing out his mind. I've never seen Dillon Brooks do anything in the playoffs where it's actually like, oh, this is the Dillon Brooks game. You know what the Dillon Brooks game was when LeBron tied the game and then shrugged on him and then babied him in overtime? That was the Dillon Brooks game, and they shipped him out. That was the Dillon Brooks game. When I look at Fred VanVleet, I think he's a good piece. I think he's a great veteran leader. But Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Sengun, and Dillon Brooks, not enough to win a chip. But they got Reed Shepherd. Is he getting playing minutes? They got Jabari Banks Jr. No, not Jabari Banks. What's his name?
Jabari Parker.
I was thinking about the dude from Bel-Air.
I was getting confused with Jabari Parker, though, because I was like, Jabari is such a unique name.
It's like Jabari Smith, I think.
Jabari Smith Jr.
Jabari Smith Jr.
Braun was like, I bust you. I ain't your daddy's.
I'm not relying on Jabari Smith Jr. playoff minutes. I'm not relying on Taylor Easton. I'm not relying on these young guys. And it's not a distant.
Because I know he broke his hand.
Easton, I don't know. I think he is actually. I think he is. Let me just get that clarified. Let me look at who in
Jabari Smith's back now, so.
Yeah, Thompson, Sengun, Adams, Green, VanVleet, Jabari Smith, Easton, and Jason Tate. That's probably going to be your 8 for the playoffs. So Thompson, Sengun, Adams, Green, VanVleet, Smith Jr., Easton, and Jason Tate. Amen Thompson is the key to be unlocked for this team to really make a deep run. but I don't. He's shown me flashes. I don't think he's going to put it all together this season. I think next season is the one where he really puts it together and makes that leap. I think is the number two for Houston. I think it should be Thompson and Sengun. I don't think Green should be. If anything, you could really package Green and Van Fleet for an elite third piece, and y'all probably be all right. Or Green and some picks. Anthony Simons is right there. Green and 2 firsts for Simons. Who says no? That's all I'm saying.
Probably the Blazers. I don't think many people want Stanley Green.
Give him Van Fleet too. Spice the deal up.
Yeah. I got a few opinions on a lot of Rockets players, but first thing I want to say is I don't think they're supposed to do anything. Like, if they lost in the first round, no one would be like, oh, 2 seed lost to the 7 seed. That's terrible. This is a failure of a season for the Rockets. I think most people had them in the plan. No one had these guys making the playoffs as a top 6 seed, let alone the 2nd seed. So from that standpoint, it's a huge success. And whatever they do in the playoffs doesn't really matter. It's like a carbon copy of the Thunder last year. Like, you get like a first time, second time All-Star in Şengün. Then you got your role players, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, all helping out, like Jalen Williams and all that. But the thing, this is my gripe with Jalen Green. It's not that he's inconsistent. It's that since his rookie year, he's shown little to no improvement. This is the same player who's now 23 that you got when he was 19. And the season, or was it last season or last summer, they gave him one of the weirdest rookie extensions ever, which was a 2+ a player option, which is basically like you got these 2 years to prove it, and if you don't, you think you're worth more than 36 mil, which is what they're paying him, which is insane amount of money. They're going to be like, okay, we're going to move on from you. We're going to package you in something, or you can decline the option and go find the money elsewhere. So I think with Jalen Green, his archetype is like the Cam Thomas kind of archetype, which is like the only way he's good is if he's like shooting crazy. Like, he's not going to be a guy who has like 15, 10, and 10, and he's going to still have the same impact. So I think Amen Thompson's shown that he can be the number 2 guy, even the number 1 guy, because I think Amen Thompson's going to be the best player on this team whenever they do become real contenders. But yeah, the clock is ticking for Jalen Green. And then the last thing I want to say is that what they've done is really, really impressive, because this is practically the same team as last season, and all they did was add the 3rd pick who doesn't even play. They had a top 3 pick who doesn't even play, and they're like 20 games better than last season. So yeah, I think Ime Udoka should be in the Coach of the Year convo. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he should definitely be in the Coach of the Year convo. And then Şengün, first-time All-Star. And what they did with bringing in Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, it was like a head-shaking move at the time. It was like, you're paying Dylan Brooks this much money, you're paying Fred VanVleet $40 million. What's he gonna do? But then it's like the stuff that he's done to help Amen Thompson become better, and then even guys like Aaron Holiday and stuff. Like, their end of the bench guys are really good. Like Steven Adams having a career rejuvenation after the terrible injuries he had. You got, like we said, Tari Eason, Jae'Sean Tate, who's 30, by the way. Jae'Sean Tate is 30 and is like 4th season, which is insane. But yeah, I think whatever the Rockets do, it's a success of a season. Even if they get swept, I think, which I don't think they will, but whatever they do, it's a success of a year.
Harden 30, 10, and 10 averages on a revenge series. I need it more than anything.
As long as I leave with that Amen Thompson triple-double in Game 5, we're good.
Garbage time triple-double.
Kind of like what Royce said. I do agree that Amen Thompson will be like the number 1 guy eventually. Jalen Green is kind of inconsistent in a way. Like, I feel like I'm repeating everything what Royce said, but I think I agree with a lot of what he said. Especially when it came to comparison of like the Thunder. The Thunder were a team that were a young team. They still are a young team, but like they were the number 1 seed or number 2 seed, I believe, last season, and they lost in the second round. They lost in the second round to the Mavericks. So I think maybe I feel like the Rockets, I don't think they lose in the first round, but I do see them losing in the second round. Maybe like kind of like what Roy said, a little like 5 games. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, this is a learning season for them, and I see it as a successful way for them having a lottery pick literally this year, and now to just being the number 2 seed in the league or in the Western Conference. My apologies, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could give the Rockets a little more credit for what they've done in terms of the rejuvenation of their franchise. On that 10-game winning streak last year, they showed flashes of the true potential of this team. Sengun is taking the leap. Thompson is taking the leap. I think Roy said it perfectly though about Jalen Green. This is the same player you got 3 years ago. But the thing about his play style is it hasn't evolved to the point where he can be consistent. If he's on, then he's on. But if he's off, it's going to be horrible. And there's no real like clear baseline metric. Either you're going to get 34 on efficient shooting or you're going to get 8 on terrible shooting. He's taking the same shots regardless. And even his bag and how he's shot created, it relies heavily on his athleticism, but I don't see a lot of finesse when it comes to creating shots, when it comes to even off-ball movement. I don't see a lot of that from Jalen Green. And again, when you have a guy who, as we compare to Cam Thompson, I think Cam Thomas, is probably a little bit better of a playmaker than Jalen Green based on what he's doing in the Nets. But it is when you don't have the ball, where is your presence? Are you a defensive guy now? Are you somebody screening, cutting? What are you doing? Are you having gravity as a player? Or is it, if Jalen Green's not scoring, we can hunt that. And if he is scoring, you're comfortable with letting Jalen Green beat you because half the time he's going to shoot himself out of the game. And that's the thing about Jalen Green and this Rockets team. I haven't seen, and to be fair, we don't need to see it this season as well. So I will say I was probably being a Warriors hater instead of an objective basketball convoist. But this team doesn't need to do anything right now. I think you give them 2-3 more years, they're definitely going to be the upper echelon of the West. I think I'm very excited to see where Amen Thompson or both the Thompson twins go. Oh my goodness. But what Amen did do to Boston in TD Garden, dropping 34 and I think 16 with a game winner. Spectacular performance. He kind of reminds me of a much more athletic T-Mac. And the reason I say much more athletic is because of his defensive ability as well as his offensive. It's like a playmaking T-Mac. That's what I would describe him as. Because he's 6'10", right? Unless I'm tripping. He's 6'10", right?
No, he's 6'7". Like 6'7", 6'8".
Okay, yeah, he's up there in height. So I would say like a slightly shorter but more aggressively playmaking T-Mac. That's who I see shades of. I think once he really gets his bag down, then it's going to be like, oh my gosh. This is their number one, and then Sengun is their number 2. And then if Jalen Green doesn't prove it, you trade him for Anthony Simons. That's how I will end that. But going back to the Rockets' number 1 op, beating us in the play-in was their Super Bowl. The Golden State Warriors. This is something I'm happy about, because when we were 11 in January, when we were 11th, we were 19 and 21. I had Marcus saying, "Oh, Joaquin, how you feel about the Warriors? How you feel about the Warriors? They suck now." I'm excited. I was hearing it from Samaji. I was like, does he know they're not going to get anybody in the trade deadline? Mike Dunleavy, Mr. Never Pick Up the Phone. Everybody in the group chat telling me, this downfall, so happy. I've been waiting on this. 20-5 in the last 25? Steph averaging 41 in April? 14-0 when it's the starting lineup of Steph, Moody, Jimmy, Pods, and Draymond. 14-0. We beat the Nuggets last night. This was a Nuggets with Jokic, mind you. They beat us when Aaron Gordon had a random 40 piece, but we beat them with Jokic. That makes a lot of sense. But Steph dropping 52, 10, 8, and 5. On the road against Memphis, 12 threes, 12 of 20 from 3, 16 to 24 from the floor. We gave like moderate belt to the Lakers. Well, it wasn't crazy belt, but Podziemski dropping 28 and then dropping 26 against the Nuggets. The Warriors are peaking at the right time. We don't have an offensive rebounding presence. We still don't have a center that can really compete with Jokic. I don't think we have guys that can compete with Hartenstein and Chet and Jalen Williams down low. But when I look at the rest of this West team, and I'll give the Rockets credit. You got Steven Adams and Sengun. When I look at the rest of this West, though, Lakers got Jackson Hayes. They don't really have a crazy big. The Clippers got Zubac, but they don't really have a crazy big. Minnesota got Gobert. Great defender, not a crazy offensive presence down low. Mavericks are, not really in contention. Kings not going to do anything. I don't even think those matchups would even happen. Memphis got Jaren Jackson Jr., but you saw what we did to them because they just have Jaren Jackson Jr. When you look at this Golden State Warriors team, there's two things I want to ask y'all about. The silent impact of Jimmy Butler, how y'all think that has really just opened the floor up for Golden State, because he really has not even been playing super good. I know he's averaging like 17, 8, and 6, but when you actually watch the game, it's a very quiet 17, 8, and 6, and it'll probably be 9 of 11 from the free throw line as well. Is this a Western? I know my fault. I shouldn't have picked those two numbers. Is this a Western Conference Finals team? I'm just asking straight up. Is this a Western Conference Finals team?
I'm gonna say y'all are on a really good run right now. Like, I'm not doubting you guys. I think you guys are gonna have a good push in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But it all just depends on how Podziemski plays in the playoffs. I know that sounds like crazy. I think it sounds crazy right now, but obviously you have Butler, you have Curry. They're gonna play. I already know they're gonna play great in the playoffs, which is definitely gonna take y'all out of the first round. I'm not saying y'all are not gonna be a first round exit. Is what I'm saying. Y'all might be a second round exit, but I think just the way Podziemski's playing right now is, I think, a big key underrated factor of how the Warriors are playing this season, or this towards the end of this regular season. Because look at how the way he's been playing. Like, I'm like, against the Lakers. That you said he had 28 points. I think Butler only had like 11. Butler didn't. He hasn't been a really big factor, and you can say how defensively he has. I don't think he played as good against the Lakers defensively either. Maybe he did against Denver. I never really checked the box score on that, but
I think he had 3 still, so he did all right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he did pretty good on that. It just all becomes if Podziemski just goes ghost again, then I think it's literally just Curry and Butler. And if one of them has a bad game, and then let's say y'all play, I don't know, the Lakers. I know, like, oh, that's my team, but like, let's say Luka just goes, but not like he just plays amazing basketball, hypothetically, and all around, like, our team is playing well. If Podziemski is putting on a stinker, then y'all are gonna lose that series. But if Podziemski doesn't have a stinker game, then that game goes to 7, and y'all might beat us. Or y'all might not beat us, but y'all might just have us a very competitive advantage. I don't know if I'm making sense. I feel like I am, but I think it just all comes down to how Podziemski plays and how your bench plays too. Like, because right now your bench is top 5 in points in the league. I think they're number 1 since April. They're number 1 in bench points since April. So it all just comes down to your main core, because, like I said, you have Curry and Butler. But as long as they play solid, I can see a Western Conference push. But it all just, like, in the playoffs is a different breed. I'm not doubting them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make the Western Conference Finals. I know a few episodes that said they didn't, but a few weeks ago is different than this week. Basketball changes every few weeks, so I'm admitted. I didn't think they would be, but it's a possibility with the run they're going on right now. Keyword: the run they're going on right now. If they struggle in the playoffs, let's say they barely make. Let's say they I don't know. Let's say they're like a 4th seed and they take the Grizzlies to 7. But they're struggling. That's a 7-game series that they're struggling in. Then I can kind of see, like, okay, like, maybe they're not gonna make it that far. But if they, like, fall on, like, 6-game, like, pure dominance, like, the 2 games are probably just like games, like, with the Grizzlies or any other team that you guys are gonna play, then I'm gonna be okay. This team might just make it. But like I said, it all depends on that.
Yeah. I just do want to say real quick before Royce goes, if we give the Lakers belt in the first round, then you might not want to show up to the pod that week. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
I will show up. I mean, I'm here right now.
Daniel always stand on business. That's what I love.
He stand on business. I respect it. Royce, you gonna show up if Boston sweep y'all?
No. I'm gonna be off this earth.
Hey, I was talking with Samaji about that. I said if the Cavs get swept by the Celtics, it's gonna be a generational clip for him day. Yeah. All right. Anyways, my fault. You continue, Royce.
But yeah, 2 things I want to say about the Warriors. The first thing is that they're a team that can beat everyone, but I also think they're a team that can get beat by anyone. Because we've seen that through the whole regular season. They beat the Nuggets, and then they'll lose to, like,
the Hornets.
The Hornets or whatever, or the Suns or something.
Who we did actually lose to, I'm pretty sure, by the way.
So, yeah, going off that, like, I agree with what Daniel said. I think it's more of their role players than, like, Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph. Because we know Jimmy and Draymond are going to be menaces on the defensive end, even if they're not showing up on offense. We know what Steph's going to do. So I think like Pods, Moody, Kuminga, Looney if he plays, Quentin Post, all those guys, I think it comes down to them because we've seen that people were kind of writing off this team because of the players that were surrounding Steph. So I think they matter more than Steph. And then the second thing, writing off Steph and calling him washed was the stupidest thing the media could have done.
Yeah, that was NBA. That was all NBA Twitter. I don't think the media. I guess you can call it the media. But that was all NBA Twitter.
Yeah, like what has Steph done over the last 5 years that makes you think, oh, he's not gonna do this again? Like when people were like, oh, he shouldn't be an all-star starter, and I was like, you think he's gonna play like this for the whole season? I was like, this dude's just warming up. Wait till they make that trade deadline trade, then we'll see what happens.
It's a certain fan base pushing those narratives. I'm not gonna say which fan base, but it's a certain fan base pushing those narratives. No, not Lakers, Daniel. Not Lakers, Daniel. It's a certain fan base pushing those narratives, though. I'm gonna leave it at that.
But yeah, that's all I got to say on the Warriors. If whatever they do it. If they lose, I'll be happy. But whatever, we'll see what happens.
I'm just happy we're in the position to lose at the highest level of the game. I don't care if we don't win the finals or anything. But just the fact that I can say we're not a play-in team, we're not 11, we're not going on Cancun immediately. That's all I wanted. I think unbiasedly, I think Royce, both of y'all said it perfectly. We're a team that can beat anyone, but we're also very beatable. And I think if Podziemski plays at this level, Kuminga, Moody give you 16 and 13 a night. Jimmy obviously going to be more offensively aggressive in the playoffs. If this Warriors team is a well-oiled machine continually, let's say they win every game going into the playoffs. So let me just see where that would put their record at. 51 and 31. You win every game going into the playoffs. You lock up that 4th or 3rd seed for home court. I'm looking at a Warriors team. If they're 3rd seed, especially if the Warriors can somehow get 3rd, so Lakers need to lose 1, Denver needs to lose 2. If the Warriors can somehow get that 3rd seed, I would confidently say they're probably going to the Western Conference Finals. As long as we don't draw the Clippers first round, we're going to the Western Conference Finals. Because the Rockets would be waiting next if they were to get past the first round. And I'm very confident against that Rockets team. If you draw 4 or 5, it's like you got to play the Thunder in the next round. I don't know how that goes.
But that's the thing, though, too. I don't hope you had this discussion before. But I feel like if you're a 3 seed and you win the first round, I think it's an automatic guarantee you're going to make the Western Conference Finals. So I think that argument's good, but it's not surprising either. Same with Los Angeles Lakers. If they get the 3rd seed and we can beat whoever the 6th seed is, I believe we can, whether that's Memphis, whether that's the Clippers, I still think we can beat them. And like you said, if we're going to play the Rockets, if they don't lose the first round, that's easy.
Yeah.
I think so far, we've only beat them, I think we beat them twice, but it's 2-1 right now. Or we swept them. I'm not too sure. But we had 1 loss against them this season, and that was because of a really bad ref call. I mean, I'm not even being biased, but that was a horrible call. I still remember that. And that led to a game winner against us. But I still think we could beat them 5 games, and then we can go to Western Conference Finals. So I think, I agree what you're saying, but I think anyone could beat the Rockets in the second round. Whoever is.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, if the Rockets are the 2 seed and the Clippers get 7, that belt is gonna heal me. Oh my gosh, that James Harden. Y'all don't understand. I can release the footage. We remember in February arguing about this for 27 minutes. It was a 3-on-1 argument between Daniel, Royce, Marcus, and myself. I told y'all the Clippers could beat the Rockets in 7 games. Now April coming up, y'all it's not ridiculous to say that. That would what would heal me more though is Clippers Lakers first round matchup and Harden just fries Luka for a game winner. He don't even gotta win the series. Harden frying Luka step back Hesse tween game winner. You got that Kevin Harlan call. Harden step back on Luka. Clippers up by 4 with a minute to go.
I mean, even if they don't win the series, obviously that's like I said, it's a possibility that happens. But I think even without Luka, bro, we kind of cooked them. So
Harden ain't had a resurgence yet. That was pre-turkey trip, Harden. Bro. If you know, you know. Pre-turkey trip. That was pre-ATL visit, Harden. Don't speak on us too much.
Nah, but I think if we place him, it's like a 6-game series.
Yeah, I mean, y'all
4 or
should
5.
be. Imagine Kawhi just randomly torches y'all for like 30 in a series, though. It's narrative.
He'll become my hated player again, bro. And
Like,
there was a time
imagine.
when he was like he was my favorite player at one point, and then once he joined the Clippers that same day, bro, like he became like the most hated. And
Like,
then
imagine, like, after all this Paul George, I felt like I was joining the little brother. The Clippers would beat the Lakers in the playoffs.
After he leaves, dude, would be insane.
Narratively, that Harden frying Luka, a Chrysler 300 looked like a Phantom till a Phantom pull up. I need that for Harden. That's their ring right there. That's literally Clippers' ring because I don't think they're winning the finals at all. If they beat the Lakers, you might as well hang that banner up. Might have in the playoffs. Oh yeah, go hang that banner up right now. We beat LA.
beat LA.
That's a fan base.
It doesn't matter if they beat us or not, bro. They know. They're still
They're not.
better.
I'm sorry.
They're always gonna be, bro.
If y'all got a top 4, y'all switched a top 8 player for a top 4 player for virtually nothing. I'm sorry. If you do that swap and you have Braun and baby Braun, and then you get bounced out by Ivica Zubac, that's a bad look.
It is a bad look. It's a bad look. I agree.
Look. And granted, I think it's
not
unfair because even before the Luka trade, I don't think the Lakers had all these lofty expectations put on them. And the way the form Luka is in right now, he's getting baked offensively and defensively. He's not fast enough to create adequate space creation with a lot of these guys. Jaylen Brown exposed that. And it's like, oh, if I just don't fall for the Hesse tween, I'm good. You just don't give him enough space to create. People say he shot bad against the Warriors. No, he got locked up. Offensively, he was a cone.
No, he did get locked up. I watched that game.
Steph was like, hey, screen. Hey, Draymond, screen. Come here, Luka. Tween. Can't keep up. That's going to be a problem in the playoffs. You can't become good at defense in two. Playoffs start April 15th. It's April 5th. You can't become good at defense in 10 days. I will say, if y'all go against a good guard team, that's what I'm talking about. The
I
Clippers.
will say, though, like he's very inconsistent, but I think come playoff time, Luka magic, bro. I think
that doesn't help the defensive end, though, because Norman Powell, James Harden, or you go against John Morant, those guards are going to take turns with him, bro.
So, bro, look, he's going to drop like 40, bro, in a win. Doesn't matter.
I think Luka going to surprise a lot of Lakers fans. He's not doing what y'all think.
Bro, people are already turning on him, bro. I'm not one of those fans, but
he needs another season. He's not. He needs an off season.
Yeah,
he's
next
not
year,
dude.
Not right now.
But people put the expectation that we're gonna win it all. We're gonna win it all. No, dude, we're not. I've said it multiple times during this playoff series. Or sorry, during this whole like season, like even if we make the Western Conference Finals or we don't face the Thunder, I don't think we're gonna win it all because there's so many teams that are just too stacked, and we just kind of have to find a way to because we got to look at obviously at the trade deadline. We have to find a way where we can rejuvenate and we can be like, okay, how can Luka play with this spacing? Or how can AR? Because AR is probably underrated. I know we didn't talk about last episode, but he's one of the best third options in the NBA. And that's not a bad argument. I feel like people who do argument about that, they're arguing against the wall because like you can call me like a really biased Laker fan, but I think
he is 1,000%.
He might be one or two best third option in the NBA. One or two.
I'll say this right now, though. The key is literally giving Dalton Connect playoff minutes in the starting lineup. That's literally.
Yes, I think
that's the key.
I think that's what JJ should do.
Is give Dalton Connect minutes, bro.
Dude, that AR and Dalton Connect chemistry is really good. People haven't talked about that, but it is really good.
We calling them the whiteout duo, like
the whiteout, bro. Like
pause if needed.
The white duo, bro.
Whiteout.
What? Pause, but look. What
No,
I'm saying is,
Luka,
I don't think that's a good.
if Austin had a K in his name, it would have been perfect. Dang it. Luka, Dalton Connect. Y'all see where I'm going with this, right?
The rest letters.
Nah, I wasn't going there. Defensive Player of the Year, and I think this might wrap it up. Defensive Player of the Year. Me and Royce was having a little argument about this because out of nowhere, Draymond Green got the push for it. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect this. Draymond Green got the ESPN sit down with Malika Andrews. It's my last chance to win this. I want 10 All-NBA teams, though. That James Harden clip where Evan Mobley was dancing, bro. The world turned on him. Yo, chain fake. They look at Evan Mobley like, we might give it to Lou Dort. I got a question for y'all, though. I'm going to lay this down. I think there should be two different defensive players of the Defensive Player of the Year awards. Because, let's go through the Defensive Player of the Year winners. There's some years where like Marcus Smart should have been Drew Holiday. Let's just be honest. That was Drew Holiday's. I'm a Boston fan. I was Drew Holiday's. And then it's so funny. Like, I was sad about losing Marcus Smart, and then I saw Drew Holiday in the playoffs. I was like, oh, we good off that. I was like, yeah, we good off that. How they let us get him? I actually wanted Drew Holiday to go to Minnesota. That's where I wanted Drew Holiday to go.
Yeah, Minnesota or Miami, I want him to go.
Not Miami, free him from there. But I wanted to see like Ant with a very competent number 2. Minnesota would have been scary. Oh my gosh. I digress though, as I was saying. But I think there should be two different Defensive Player of the Year awards because the way guards affect the defense and the way bigs affect the defense is completely different. And I don't think it's a fair metric to really measure them out the same way. Because, yeah, there's shot blockers and then there's rim deterrent / rim protectors. I know that's been a debate in NBA spaces for a while now. Who's a shot blocker and who's a rim deterrent? Because when I look at a guy like a Wemby, right, who can get you 3-4 blocks a game, they're like, oh, Defensive Player of the Year right there. Or, you know, you look at Dyson Daniels, 3 steals. Oh, Defensive Player of the Year right there. I think it's not like Most Improved Player of the Year where it's like draft pick who has an improvement with high upside award now. But it's more of just a who can get the fanciest stats. Because when I look at guys who are floor raisers defensively, you know, Drew Holiday, you know, you've got, I'm trying to think of players, my fault. I think Bam at a point was a guy who could guard 1 to 5. You got these bigs and these guards who, while they may not get every steal, while they may not have it in the stat sheet, when you look at Jimmy and Draymond on the floor together, highest defensive rating in the league since that trade, when they're on the floor together, defense is affected so differently compared to bigs, and I'd even say like small shooting forwards and then guards and then power forwards and centers. The way it's affected is so differently. So a guy like Evan Mobley, it's not his job to guard James Harden. It's really not his job. Like, that clip was funny, but that's not a knock on Mobley. It's first of all, it's James Harden. I could get if it was Tyus Jones. It's James Harden. Nobody's figured that out. James Harden has lost playoffs because turnovers or because he shot himself out of a game. It's never been like, except that's one Spurs year where the Spurs won 4-2. That's the only series I was like, yeah, Manu low-key put belt on James. That's the only series I can remember where I was like, James actually got clamped. Outside of that, it's James Harden. But Evan Mobley's a big. He's not supposed to be checking James Harden. Are we going to take away everything he does against guys like Giannis, everything he does against guys like Cat Mitchell Robinson because of one James Harden clip? No. But I'm also not going to take away from the fact that Draymond Green, even though he may not have the blocks and the steals, defensively the reads he's able to make. And I think when people play basketball more, you also realize this. When there's a guy who can guard some of the better players on the team and you can trust him to do that, it gives you more freedom offensively. It gives your offense more energy. A great defensive steal, a lot of the times, is what leads to a Curry transition 3. It's like, dang, they beat us on both ends of the floor. Most of that starts with Draymond Green. Same thing, Evan Mobley, block, outlet pass to Mitchell, lob to Allen. Cavs extend the lead against Boston to 36 now. Tatum's looking dejected on the court. That's but it's two different types of defense. I did that just for you, Royce. We know that's not happening. No, we can wake up now. It's two different types of defense. So I guess I want to get y'all thoughts on that. Do y'all think maybe it should be like two separate defensive player of the years? Because I don't think we should be holding guards and bigs to the same metric defensively because there's no way to compare it. And then
what would you call it though?
Just like
defensive
big of the year, defensive guard. Yeah, kind of like how like in the NFL it's like offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, just
I like that. Okay, yeah.
You just do that.
I mean, that would be a bad idea. It's just like then like it'd make it more fair too. So
yeah, because
I think it's a bad idea.
You can't like MVP is more of a broader metric. Like who's the most valuable player doesn't really change. It's just about how they're affecting the team, statistically speaking. But defense is a lot different because, like, oh, if Evan Mobley fries Drew Holiday and dunks on him, are we gonna say, oh yeah, Drew Holiday, that's not my defensive player of the year? Give Gobert his 5th. It's like what are
Yes, 4.
I'm pretty sure he got 3 or 4.
That's tied for most in NBA history.
No way.
Yeah, he got 4. He won last year. I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
that's the point I was trying to make with the whole Draymond thing. Because until he started campaigning for it, no one had him in the top 3 or whatever. And the same thing happened with Rudy last year because Wemby was like, yeah, he can have it this year because I'm going to win the next 10. So it was kind of like, once Wemby said that, they were like, okay, now we got to give it to Gobert because it's like, this is his last chance. Oh, we can't give it to a rookie and all that. But yeah, like what you said about bigs and guards, like they can be equal defenders, but it's also a lot of defense. Like being a good defender goes more than just a stat sheet. Like if you look at Dyson Daniels, you'd be like, oh, all he does is get steals. If you look at Wemby, well, Wemby's the anomaly, but if you just look at Wemby from the stat perspective, you're like, oh, all he does is block shots. Because it's like, if you look at a guy like Jared Allen, he barely averages a block, barely gets a steal, but everyone would say that he's one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. And the same thing goes with like Drew Holiday, Jaden McDaniels, all those guys. Even when Drew Holiday was like first team all NBA, first team all defense, he wasn't like leading the league in steals and all that. So I do agree to the point that you're making, Joaquin, about like how they affect the game differently. But then I also feel like that guard defensive player of the year would just turn into like a pity award because it would be like, oh, let's just give it to him. Like, oh, he wasn't as impactful as Wemby, but he deserved to win DPOY as well. So it's like,
yeah, and it's kind of weird because even like in those games, Wemby getting crazy blocks, are they winning most of those games? I think that also should factor into it. I think, honestly, yeah, I think because if you're a great defender, but your team's still getting smoked.
Yeah, but then it's like they just suck though. Like the Spurs were terrible.
So it's like it's a really weird metric. It's like what you said about MVP always kind of changing as well in terms of the criteria we use to actually give out those awards. It's a really interesting thing. I think that's going to do it today. Also, real quick before we end, I did want to shout out Giannis 35, 20, and 17. Am I reading this right? 35, 17, and 20. The assist was 20. That's the crazy part. Why Giannis got the same career high assist as Chris Paul? That's what is Chris Paul's career high assist actually? 21.
That's crazy. Crazy.
Rondo with the 25 is absolutely insane. I'm not gonna lie. Whatever John Stockton's record is, we can get rid of that. I was seeing those. I was watching that film. We can get rid of that. Chris Paul the leader for assists. We done with the 90s, bro.
Big stats, bro. That is big stats.
Same with Carmelo's points, bro. Erase like 15K of those.
15? Nah, I say erase like 10. As always, though, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm excited for the playoffs. We all are. That them post playoff episode breakdowns gonna be extremely toxic. If the Warriors and Lakers really do match up, I'm gonna just start calling Daniel some things.
I'm muting the chat, bro. I'm muting the chat. I am off Instagram.
I'm just gonna start,
and I'm blocking him temporarily too.
I'm just gonna start.
I don't hear it.
I'm just gonna be like, hold. I know his address too. I'm gonna pull up to your crib. You can't escape. You can't escape. Steph dropping belts on Luka.
He's gonna be kicking lock. So, bro, what are you doing? What's up?
You see the game? Mind you, if the Warriors lose to the Lakers, I will deactivate my Instagram and I will take a 3-month break from the pod. I will come back. What's funny?
I wouldn't even say anything too. I'm gonna be like, oh. Bro, get serious.
I'm gonna come back.
But if we lose, it's not you. It's gonna come at me like a hyena, bro.
I was good last game though. I was just like, I was in the chat.
I was good. I was chilling.
And I was like, gee, that was a great game. It's other Lakers fans that are watching this. It's not you. It's other Lakers fans. I'm not gonna name, but you know who you are. If you text me if the Warriors lose, you're blocked. We will never
not
be
my
speaking.
GF, right? Not my GF.
Nobody's safe.
Or my
nobody's safe. No. What did Batman say? The hammer of justice is unisex? So is the block button. So is the block button. We not making no exceptions. But again, and finally, as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Joaquin Powell with Royce Chanda, Dan Robles, and we will see you all in the next one.